Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on eco fashion. Today, our team is going to walk you through a full stat analysis of the company's performance across an entire 12-month period. Now, this project will let us take everything we learned in class from basic descriptive stats all the way to forecasting, and we're going to apply it to a real business scenario. Now, my name is Julian, and I'll be starting things off by giving you an overview of what our project included and the data set that we were able to work with. So, our main objective with this project was simple. We used the stat tools we learned this semester to understand eco fashion's overall performance and find patterns that actually matter. We focused on four major areas, those being monthly sales revenue, customer satisfaction, product category performance, and inventory levels. Now, by looking at all of these together, we were able to see trends over time, compare groups, and test our ideas using inference. Also, to build two forecasting models to help predict what might happen in the future. Basically, this wasn't just running numbers, it was using those stats to think um like a real business would. So moving on, our group had four members, and each of us handled a different major section of this project. So I was in charge in of collecting the raw data, formatting it into a clean data set, and designing the slide deck. Giovanni handled all of the descriptive stats, t-tests, ANOVA, and the correlation analysis. Now, Azan created both forecasting models, one using regression and the other one using exponential smoothing. And finally, Joseph took all of our findings and turned them into business insights and recommendations based on the patterns that we found. So every part of the project sort of flowed together, but we still had our very clear roles. So here's the full data set that the entire project is based on. It includes 12 months of revenue, satisfaction scores, product category sales, and inventory levels. So one of the first things we noticed was the seasonal pattern in sales, starting at around 11,200 in January and steadily rising until it peaks at 20,000 in December. Now, customer satisfaction stays pretty strong and consistent, which is telling us that eco fashion is keeping people happy even when the demand goes up. The shirts, pants, and jackets categories all behave differently across the year, and the company's inventory levels shift up and down based on what the customers are buying. Now, this dataset was the starting point for every stat method we used later on in this project. So to start our analysis, we looked at some basic descriptive stats. The mean monthly revenue comes out to around $14,833, and the median is 14,700. The fact that these two values are so close tells us the data is pretty balanced and that there aren't really major outliers pulling the numbers in one specific direction. Now, for dispersion, the revenue ranges from 11,200 at the lowest point to 20,000 at the highest. The standard deviation is about $2,827, which shows some moderate variability. However, the changes make sense because the sales naturally increase toward the end of the year. So, just from the descriptive stats alone, we already saw clear seasonal patterns and a stable business model. And now that I've gone over the data set and core descriptive stats, I'll pass it on to Giovanni to walk you through the inferential stat section of our project.
Thank you. Now that we understand the basic patterns, we move into inferential statistics to test whether the patterns were observed were statistically meaningful. We performed a t-test on the ANOVA calculated confidence intervals and analyzed correlations between variables. We used one sample to test the compare monthly revenue to the company's target sales goal. The test confirmed that the Eco Fashion's monthly revenue is significantly different from the company's benchmark, giving the business a better idea of how their performance compares to their expectations. And here we did an ANOVA test. We also performed a test which gives difference between products and categories like shirts, pants, and jackets. The ANOVA returned a significant result, meaning that the last one category performs differently from others. And these are the results. So the post analysis showed that the shirts significantly outperformed both pants and jackets. Jackets, however, showed strong seasonal spikes in colder months. This indicates that the company should not treat all products equally. Each category has statistically different uh, perf- performance patterns depending on seasons and on weather. And the correlation analysis, we analyze the correlations to see how different variables relate to each other. We found a strong positive correlation between customer satisfaction and sales revenue. We also saw a clear correlation between seasonal months and jacket sales. And the key correlation findings is the biggest takeaway from all this was that the scores are strongly associated with higher monthly revenues. This suggests that improving customer experiences directly boosts sales. We also saw a predictable rise in jacket sales during colder months, confirming that climates and seasonal play are different roles. And now I'd like to take it off with Asan for our forecasting models.
Hi, my name is Azan Bashir, and I will be going over slides 11 through 15. Okay, for our first slide, we have a visualization showing Eco Fashion's revenue across all 12 months of the year. As you can see, there's a steady upward climb from January through October, which suggests consistent growth rather than random fluctuations. This indicates that the company has a solid customer base and effective ongoing sales strategies throughout the year. What really stands out, though, are the major spikes in November and December. These increases align closely with the holiday shopping season, including events like Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and year end gift buying. This tells us that seasonal consumer behavior plays a huge role in revenue generation. From a business perspective, this pattern is extremely valuable. Knowing when revenue peaks allows Eco Fashion to plan ahead by increasing inventory, launching targeted marketing campaigns, and preparing customer support staff. Overall, this chart helps confirm that the company's growth is both steady and seasonably predictable. Next, we have slide 12 with a second visualization showing product category performance. So this visualization compares performance across different product categories over time, with a focus on shirts and jackets. What we immediately notice is that shirts and pants consistently perform at a higher level than jackets. Their sales remain strong regardless of season, which suggests that shirts and pants are a core product for eco fashion. Jackets, on the other hand, follow a much more seasonal pattern. Sales remain relatively low for most of the year, but increase sharply during colder months, particularly in late fall and winter. This makes sense as jackets are typically purchased when temperatures drop. This contrast is important for inventory and production planning. Shirts provide stable revenue, making them reliable for forecasting, while jackets require more seasonal planning. EcoFashion can use this information to avoid overproducing jackets in warmer months while ensuring enough supply during peak seasons. Together, these insights help the company balance consistency with seasonal opportunity. Next, we have slide 13 with another visualization showing satisfaction versus revenue. So this chart explores the relationship between customer satisfaction and sales. As shown in the visualization, there's a clear upward trend. When customer satisfaction scores increase, sales increase as well. This supports the positive correlation we identified earlier in our analysis. This relationship highlights how important customer experience is to the company's success. Factors such as product quality, sustainability practices, website usability, and customer service can directly influence revenue. Satisfied customers are more likely to make repeat purchases, leave positive reviews, and recommend the brand to others. For EcoFashion, this visualization reinforces the idea that investing in customer satisfaction isn't just good ethically, it's also a smart business decision. Improving the customer experience can lead directly to higher sales, making it a key area for long-term growth. Next, we have slide 14 with business forecasting overview. Now that we've reviewed past performance, we move into forecasting. To help EcoFashion prepare for the future, we created two separate prediction models to estimate monthly revenue going forward. Forecasting is essential because it allows the company to make informed decisions about inventory, staffing, marketing budgets, and financial planning. Instead of reacting to changes, EcoFashion can be proactive, anticipating demand rather than scrambling to meet it. By using data-driven forecasting models, the company gains a clearer picture of where revenue is headed and how different factors influence future outcomes. This reduces uncertainty and improves decision-making at every level of the business. Next, we have slide 15 with the regression forecast model. Our first forecasting method used linear regression. This model examined how different product categories influenced overall revenue, and it revealed that shirt sales were the strongest predictor of monthly revenue. The regression equation we developed is 5,000 plus 2.5 times the amount of shirts sold. What this means is that EcoFashion earns a base revenue of $5,000, and for every additional shirt sold, revenue increases by approximately $2.50. This gives the company a clear, measurable relationship between shirt sales and total revenue. This model is especially useful for planning because it allows EcoFashion to estimate revenue based on expected shirt sales. Since shirts are a consistent top-performing product, this regression provides a reliable foundation for budgeting, goal setting, and future growth strategies. Thank you.
Forecasting method number 2, exponential smoothing. Our forecasting method used exponential smoothing with a weighting factor of A equals 0.8. Because this method places a much heavier emphasis on recent data, it works especially well in dynamic retail environments where demand can shift quickly from month to month. This makes it a great fit for EcoFashion's sales data, which naturally fluctuates with trends, seasons, and customer behavior. Using this approach, the model predicts that next year's December sales will reach around $21,500. And this lines up with the upward incline we've seen throughout the year. So not only does the forecast seem reasonable, but it also serves as a strong indicator that this growth pattern will likely continue. From a business perspective, that's incredibly encouraging because it gives EcoFashion a reliable expectation for planning ahead, especially during the holiday season. Key insights learned. Based on all our analysis, we identified 4 key insights that really stood out. Higher customer satisfaction reliably predicts higher revenue. Shirts are consistently the strongest performing product. Jackets depend heavily on seasonal spikes, and revenue growth is steady and predictable, especially towards the end of the year. Circling back, we observed this especially from September through December when customer satisfaction consistently stayed above 8.8. These were also some of the strongest revenues months, connecting how customers feel and how much they purchase. For shirts being consistently the strongest performing product, on average, shirts sold about 239 units per month, making them the best selling item, but also the most stable. The sales from shirts give EcoFashion a dependable baseline for both sales and inventory planning. Jackets, depending on seasonal spikes, demand rises significantly during the colder months, which makes a lot of sense because the colder weather changes and those months being holiday season. In warmer months, jacket sales drop to about around 70 units per month on average. This highlights a strong seasonality pattern that EcoFashion should continue to account for when planning production and marketing. Revenue growth being steady and predictable. The consistency we see in the data confirms that EcoFashion can confidently use forecasting models to plan for future months, especially during high traffic periods for the store. Final recommendations. Here's an example of how we applied the methods we used earlier. And from our analysis, we developed 2 main business recommendations: optimized marketing strategy and data-driven inventory planning. For optimized marketing strategy, shirts should receive continuous year-round marketing because they're reliable sellers in every season. Shirts have kept steady revenue going, so keeping customers aware of new designs or promotions throughout the year will help maintain sales for our most consistent product. Jackets, on the other hand, should be marketed with targeted seasonal campaigns, especially in the fall and winter when sales and store traffic naturally rises. This doesn't mean EcoFashion should stop producing jackets during the warmer months, but we need to be more mindful about how many are produced and how much of our budget we are able to spend. For data-driven inventory planning, using our forecasting models, EcoFashion should begin increasing inventory ahead of expected sales spikes, especially in November and December. This helps prevent stockouts, and as a result, it maximizes revenue during this business period of the year. Since we already have reliable forecasting tools, we can estimate what we need to do for our inventory plan. This means the company can estimate inventory needs with confidence and avoid both overstocking and running out of high demand items. Together, these recommendations can help basically EcoFashion operate more smoothly and efficiently. Conclusion. In conclusion, our analysis revealed clear seasonal patterns, consistently strong customer satisfaction, and product categories that behave very differently throughout the year. Using business statistics allowed us to not only recognize these trends, but also to measure them and apply them in a practical way through forecasting. Appendix. This section includes all the calculations and materials used throughout the project, like data tables, formulas, intermediate steps, and visual outputs. We've also included month-by-month revenue charts and exponential smoothing results. All of this is meant to show exactly how our conclusions were reached and keep the entire process transparent and easy to reproduce.
So now we're gonna answer some Q&As that were provided to us. So I'm gonna start. What did you learn or find most surprising? So I was pretty much surprised by how much planning and decision making actually depends on data. I didn't really realize businesses relied this heavily on stats instead of just guessing. Next one asks, what are some similarities and differences you found? So I would say revenue and satisfaction showed similar upward patterns, but product categories behaved completely differently. The shirts were steady and the jackets were very much seasonal. Now it's asking, what considerations are you thinking about now? So it made me think more about planning ahead. If I ever run my own carpentry business, which is what I'm interested in, I would need to track demand, materials, as well as busy seasons in the same way. What did you gain and how did your feelings shift? So, to be honest, I started off not really caring too much about it, but by the end, it felt way more important to me. I actually saw the purpose behind the numbers of it all. And the final question asks, um, how did this change your outlook on business stats? So it made stats feel useful to me, like something I could actually apply, not just formulas for homework. And that's pretty much it. Thank you.
Q&A slide prompt. So, what did I learn and find most surprising during the creation of the project? I was surprised about like how clear the story became once like the data started to organize. Like for example, once like the jackets sold on average on 70 units a month compared to the 239 shirts. It was eye-opening and it made me realize which products are the real drivers of business, which might need more marketing or more reconsideration. Some similarities and differences that I discovered through the analysis was I looked at sales and the satisfaction of inventory together are very similar. The revenue dipped for customer satisfaction, and no, the revenue dipped while the customer satisfaction stayed consistently like high. The big difference was that the product's performance. So like shirts were like the best sellers with low variability, while monthly revenue itself had a pretty wide range. That pretty much the overall sales were more unpredictable than the sales individuals of items. Mm, what considerations are you now thinking about after completing this project? Thinking about inventory management a lot more now. For like instance, if jackets were to sell so few units on average, is worth keeping a large inventory on them. I'm also considering how high satisfaction doesn't always mean great outcomes of sales, and it made me want to look more deeper into it, and just so it can get like more of a wider like explanation or like give me questions and answers at the same time. What did you gain from this experience? How did your feelings shift from start to finish? I gained practical skills like from this business data. At first, the spreadsheet it looked overwhelming, but it looked like after everything was being put together, it looked like normal. And like this is easy, and pretty much I also started noticing like standard deviations of revenues, like significant enough to suggest that business experiences like real peaks and values, like throughout like depending on weather or seasons. How has this project changed your outlook on business statistics? Before statistics, I felt like separate. Now I see that it's like a real world like decision of making like for a business, or even using like an average like pinpoints for like fashion or any other stuff. Um, just like just gave me like a better understanding as well, like on what what are the strong suits and what are the like it's a low is like strong points, like what's pros and cons. How will what you learn here impact your future or career or education? I'll carry forward like I'm looking into like metric like future marketing or operations on analytic roles. Also like seeing like customer feedbacks and inventory. Like if there was to be like a business like for me or just pretty much having like that wide idea like of how things work, because I usually like around malls or stores, like I think like how the background is. Like I know just selling a shirt is easy, but there's more to it. Can be like fashion wise, it can be trend wise. Yeah. And it very like it opened my eyes a lot like on what the business like does like to open all these like approaches to their customers and what gives them the idea to buy it or want it.
Hi, my name is Azan Bashir, and I will be answering the Q&A. To start off with number one, one of the most surprising things that I learned during the creation of this project was how clearly the data supported patterns that businesses often assume intuitively. For example, the strong positive correlation between customer satisfaction and sales revenue showed that statistically, improving customers' experience directly impacts the revenue. So, with better customer service, the happier that customers are, the higher your sales revenue will be, because the customers will have a good time and they want to keep coming back and getting more from your business. It was also surprising how balanced the revenue data was overall, with the mean and median being very close, indicating stability despite seasonal spikes. So to discuss the similarities and differences I discovered through our analysis, one of the key similarities across the data was the steady revenue growth throughout the year, supported by consistently high customer satisfaction. However, major differences appeared when comparing product categories. Shirts performed strongly and consistently all year, while jackets depended heavily on seasonal demand, whereas pants fell somewhere in between seasonal demand and consistent all year. The A&O VA results confirmed that these differences were statistically significant rather than random variations. For number three, after completing this project, I'm more mindful of how important it is to treat different business areas separately rather than using a one-size-fits-all approach. Product categories clearly require different marketing and inventory strategies. I'm also thinking more critically about seasonality, forecasting accuracy, and how recent data should influence business decisions, especially in fast-moving retail environments. For number four, at the beginning of this project, the amount of data and the number of statistical techniques felt overwhelming. However, as we worked through descriptive statistics, inferential tests, and forecasting models, everything became more connected and manageable. And by the end, I gained more confidence in using statistics to tell a clear business story and felt a strong sense of accomplishment seeing how our analysis led to realistic recommendations. For number five, this project changed my outlook by showing me that business statistics are not just abstract calculations, but also practical tools for decision making. Techniques like t-tests, ANOVA, and forecasting provided concrete answers to real business questions. Statistics became less about formulas and more about understanding trends, testing assumptions, and reducing uncertainty in planning. For the final question, what I learned will be highly valuable in future coursework and careers, especially in marketing, analytics, business, or management roles. And this project emphasized the importance of data-driven decision-making collaboration, as well as interpretation and not just computation. And this project really drove home the fact that you need to be able to work with other people effectively, especially in a work environment and the business environment. In moving forward, I will approach business problems with a stronger analytic mindset and greater confidence in using data to support strategic recommendations. Thank you.
I think during the creation of this project, I learned more about the analytical side that goes behind running a business or having a business, and I didn't think about that too much before. I have a background in retail, and this project has seemed sort of similar to my job in retail that I work in right now, because every time I clock in, I do get told the spot plan for the day, like I get told about the conversion rate, the expected sales, etc. And I think this has given me a deeper understanding of that aspect of my job right now. I think this project has made me appreciate business statistics a little bit more. During this class, I already did think that statistics was pretty fun, but this made me think about the presentation side that goes into a business, and a lot of corporations are going to implement presentations for associates and higher ups to tell people about what they should do, what the plan for the company should be, what we know about the company as of now, and what trends we could see through the data.